My name is David Reynolds, and this is my second take.
Dave was born on November 27th, 1977. I named him after King David because I had just read a book on King David and I just thought he was the greatest guy, you know.
I grew up in Everett, Washington. I went to high school at Cascade High School, was a star athlete on the football team there.
From the age of 4, he wanted to be a Husky football player. And he strove for that his whole life, all through high school and everything. If I took him out to the playground, he'd be doing chin-ups on the monkey bars and stuff like that. So he was really strong.
My parents used to take us on good vacations. You know, I remember going camping and doing 6-10 mile hikes.
We were always going.
I pretty much was the extremist, so to speak. I had to do bigger and badder things than my brother and sister, or those who were ahead of me. I had to make my mark.
First day of kindergarten, he wanted to walk himself to school. I said, no, I'm going to walk you to school so you know where to go and everything. So I walked him to school. So around 11:30, he said, don't come get me. I want to walk home myself. We were 2 blocks from the school. So 11:30 rolls around, so I go out to the street and I'm looking for him. And all these kindergartners go by, no Dave. I thought, oh my God, I don't know where he went, you know? So I go running down to the school. I go into the classroom's empty. I'm like, where's my kid, you know? I run into the teacher's lunchroom and I grab his teacher by the scruff of the neck and I'm going, where's my kid? And she goes, oh my God, I think he probably got on the bus. He got on the bus to see where all his friends from kindergarten lived. So they radioed the bus driver. She brought him back after she got done.
I had a pretty normal life up, until the mid-elementary school time. From a young age, I can tell you, 4, 5, 6 years old, I was exposed to music like NWA, Two Live Crew. Most people don't know who Two Live Crew is because they were banned in the early 80s. Run DMC, all these different bands and rap groups had such a influence on me. At the age of 6 was the first time I ever saw a nudie magazine. And so instantly, being little boys, we're like, whoa, what is this stuff? Going through it and just, we're just filling our minds with this stuff. And it created an appetite inside of us, a desire. And we didn't even know what it was at that age, that we are on our path to having sex and doing all these things at a young age. We didn't know how it would affect us. And so I was way past, by the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, I was way past Playboy. I was into the filthy of the filthy magazines. I thought that a relationship was getting a girl into bed, and so my first girlfriend was in 4th grade. By the age of 11 was when I had my first sexual encounter. And from there, really the goal was to sleep with as many girls as I could, and get as many girlfriends as I could. Because what society was really portraying is, that's what makes you a man. That's what makes you a pimp. That's what makes you cool. The more girls you sleep with, the more you do, the more sex you have, the cooler you are. It went from, at the age of 11, just drinking, trying some alcohol, and going over to a friend's house, getting into their parents' liquor cabinet, and starting to take shots of, mint schnapps and stuff like that, and just, trying all the good taste and stuff, all the brandies and stuff first, to pounding a 5th of vodka. Probably 6-month progression between when I started drinking to where I pounded a 5th of vodka. And when I pounded that 5th of vodka, I blacked out. I was drunk for the next 2 days. And my parents were just kind of laughing at me like, that'll teach you a lesson, which for a moment, it did.
First, I thought he was just being a teenager. But then there were certain things that I was realizing and recognizing that was going on. And I tried confronting him a couple times, and he would just say, hey, don't worry, I'm not into that kind of thing, you know, whatever. He'd make his excuses.
Over the next few years, I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I didn't think I was, you know, there's anything wrong with what I was doing. By the age of 14, I was doing LSD, weed. You know, we were lacing our weed with coke, with anything we could, with speed, you know, dipping it in stuff and everything else. And pretty soon, by probably my sophomore, junior year of high school, all my best friends, every single one of them was really a drug dealer. Just a circle of drug dealers. We all hung out together and we just sold drugs to everybody.
What ended up happening is he got a DUI, and it forced him into getting some help.
Ended up getting arrested and thrown in a 2-year drug and alcohol treatment program. The program worked great as long as you're in a nice structured environment. 65% of the kids who came through those programs would go back out and start using again. And so I began to think about, what's this program missing? I thought about it for about 2 weeks, really just thinking on it and thinking about, you know, the program works okay, but there's something really, really missing. And I realized that, you know, they have what's called a higher power. And I was like, well, I don't believe in God. You know, I don't believe in any of this stuff. You know, I started just searching who is really God. And so I began to say, okay, God, if you are, I need you to reveal yourself to me. And if you aren't, then I know it doesn't matter if I go out in the street and just start shooting people. At that point, I began to get just this thirst inside of me to read the Bible. I don't know what it was. At that time, I didn't know what it was. And I began I'd go in my room and I'd pick up a Bible that I just found in the house, and I just began reading it. And the Lord began to speak to me. It got to a point where I'd go in my room and my room would light up like a light bulb. And my furniture would be gone, and I'd be caught up in the presence of God. And what would seem like 5 minutes, when I would come out of my room, it'd be like 2-3 hours.
He went from addiction to drugs to addiction to Jesus. Big time. I mean, he really, I'm going like, whoa, you know, he'd be singing in his room and I'd be going, is he okay, you know?
And the Lord would tell me, go back into the parties and begin to tell him about me. And so I was kind of, whoa, wait a minute, you know, what is this? And so I would begin to go back into the parties, and the Lord would speak to me audibly. He'd say, go over to this person and tell them I know they're being molested, you know? And I'd go over to him and I'd be like, the Lord knows you're being molested. And girls would break down crying in the middle of a party. And when he told me to address the whole party, I was afraid. I was like, no, please, no. These are all my friends, Lord, you know? These are all the people I like, and I want them to continue liking me. And he said, don't ever go back. Leave that place right now and don't go back.
He was just sitting at the light right there by All Nations.
And I hear a voice in my car. It says, you need to be in church. And I'm like, who is in the backseat of my car telling me I need to be in church? So I'm like trying to smack one of my friends.
And God called him. He said in an audible voice, called him.
There's nobody in my car. So I'm like, am I going crazy? What's going on? And I said, Lord, if that's you, you know, you have to tell me where. Just then I drove by All Nations Christian Center again, same church. And he said, I want you there. And I heard his voice audibly again. And I was like, okay, God, I'll plant myself in your house and I'll, you know, serve you all the days of my life. You know what owns me. You know what, you know, I can't give up in my life, what I'm really addicted to, the things that I really like. And you have to deliver me from those. You know, and so one of my struggles was women, you know, was just my mentality, pornography and all that stuff. I was so consumed with my lust and my desire to have sex and pornography and do all these things that I couldn't respect a woman. And so I had to detox and get myself free. You know, the Lord had to get me free of those things so that I could really begin to change my mentality and respect the women the way I'm supposed to. And I began to submit myself under the pastor's authority. And God has just done a miracle in my life. He's put my head back together. He's given me a hope and a future and a beautiful wife and kids.
I think the biggest thing that's supernatural about Dave's testimony is just that he's a completely different person. I didn't know him, you know. In fact, when I look at my husband, I can't believe that he was the same person that did all those things.
And it's a miracle he is the way he is now. He's a completely different person. Jesus is the only thing that saved my family.
And now we've got one baby, one girl, little girl, and another one on the way at this point.
We're pregnant with our second right now. So just a month away we'll have, and his name's going to be Samuel James.
The dreams and aspirations that me and my wife have are to pastor. You know, really pastor and travel the world with the gospel and to share it with as many people as we can. You know, it's really the only thing we want to really do. We love him so much, and we're so thankful for him setting us free from all the drugs, all the perversions, just the past that we had, and really giving us a true life, a good life. We just want to serve him with everything in us, you know, and we want to help people who have been where we're at, you know, who are where we've been, and really begin to help them get everything God has for them and begin to walk the walk and talk the talk.